All right, team, here we are. Coaches coaching, coaches coaching. So what we wanted to do today was spend some time and really dig through the new programming that we've implemented, okay? Yesterday, we sent out a text asking for feedback from all of you guys and questions you may or may not have so that we can help answer those today and hopefully create some more clarity, okay? So we're going to jump right into those questions, and then if questions come up along the way, please use the chat function. Love to hear from you, hear your thoughts, make things better together. So appreciate the feedback and the questions that were already sent in. So first question that we're going to jump right into, let me just pull up these questions here, is about, understanding some of the basics of our program. And I'm just going to actually switch to a copy and share my screen so you guys can see the program as we talk about it. Okay. So let me just see here. Okay. All right, guys. So one of the first questions was, is this program VASA wide? And yes, this program is VASA wide. And reason for that is so that we're all on the same page as coaches, right? None of us is as smart as all of us. And the more we can all be on the same page, the more we can learn from each other. We can share coaching cues, coaching tips, and it really should raise the level of coaching for all of us. And kind of the follow-up question to that question about, is the program VASA wide, is just reviewing, the question was, could you review some good ways to help explain to your client that this program is still personal to them? And I think we should spend a decent amount of time on that. So the whole point of our program is to personalize this program to each and every person that walks through the door, okay? Whether it's a client who's trying to build 10 pounds of muscle, client who's trying to lose weight, client who's trying to improve performance or get ready for a specific goal, this starting point can be adapted to meet any of those goals. So I'm really glad that question was asked, because that's a really important thing. And so let's walk through, a couple examples, okay? So like, for example, let's take the goblet squat, okay? In my group the other day, right, we're starting with 2 sets of 8. Well, I had people doing goblet squats anywhere from, some of them were doing body weight squats, a couple were doing counterbalance squats, and then 2 guys in my group were doing double 60-pound front goblet squat, which double 60s is pretty intense. So there's a huge range of what we can do just from that first start of goblet squat. I could have even, for some people, progressed them up to a front squat if needed, okay? So, one of the things I would help explain to your client is, just because we added another day and we, increase some of the amount of visibility of all the drills that we do, the personalization did not change. That's the whole basis of our program. That's the basis of what we do as coaches, is being an adaptable coach. Okay, so no matter which one we're looking at here, again, this is the starting point. And on top of that, if you guys notice, and hopefully you've reviewed these in the meetings that you went to. For example, goblet squat 1A. So if I'm watching the goblet squat and I notice that Mrs. Jones is collapsing through her T-spine, I can then assign as homework from our mass drills 1A, which is floor slides, which is going to, again, personalize it even more. So this is just so that there's a clear path so people understand how to personalize it for each individual client. Let me go back to the call here. Thane, are you on the call? Maybe not yet.
Yeah, I'm here. You just muted me.
Oh, yep, I muted everybody. Do you have any other thoughts on that? Any other examples you want to share on what we're talking about here?
Nope, not right on this one.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so let me just walk into a couple other examples. So that was just the goblet squat. So what if we have a client who their main goal, they want fat loss, right? We'll help explain to the client that, one, if you're looking at the sets and reps, they're progressive, right? A big part of us improving your body composition is constantly progressive overload. So if we start and do the max 2 sets of 8 that you can do, and then, in those first 2 weeks, and then go to the max 3 sets of 8 and max 3 sets of 10, your body's going to consistently adapt and you're going to see progress. Okay. So goblet squats are going to be huge there. And that this whole thing, it's the same thing we've always been doing over the last, year and a half. It's just now there's a little bit more on the page, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So let's walk through. So that's that first question. Anybody else have any follow-up questions from, how do you tell your client that this is still personalized to them? Anybody else have any other thoughts or questions about making sure that our clients, because this is huge, guys. We want to make sure we can articulate and communicate to our clients that the program in front of them is going to be dialed into their goals, okay? That's a huge part of our job as the coach, is not just to coach them through the workout, but make sure they have an understanding of this is going to correlate to this goal that you have. And this movement is also going to help you reach that goal that you said. And I mean, it's all the same stuff there. So if anybody doesn't have any other questions, I'll move on to some other stuff.
Well, hey, Lane.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been doing is just taking a few extra minutes at the beginning to just talk about it. So anybody that had any questions, they answered them up, front, so there wasn't any ambiguity in what we were doing. And just explain what mass was and how they use it, because most of the people have already done all of those, most of those drills in some other fashion. And you just explain, now it's on the page. Now when I give you homework, I can just circle it. You don't have to remember. It's not notes scribbled everywhere. It's just a clean way to approach the same thing we've been approaching all along.
Love it. Thanks for your input on that, Jason. And you kind of reminded me of, I wanted to share this quote with you guys that I think is really important. This is from Brett Bartholomew. I wrote the book Conscious Coaching. He said, people disagree with one another because they perceive their goals and values are incompatible. This all comes back to building buy-in and trust. If we don't communicate our values and beliefs as coaches and leaders to our clients, then the bridge we intend to use to connect with them will be built on an unstable foundation, and important questions will go unanswered. So, like I said, I'm glad that question was brought up and sent in, because that's so crucial, right? Our programs are client-based, client-focused, client-obsessed, I would say. And so that's our job, is we need to make sure we're explaining our values, explaining our beliefs, explaining what Vasa training is about, doing that up front, like Jason just mentioned, so that as we go through the program, they're really excited and enthused that this program is going to help me, walk me to the goals that I have. It's going to help me keep focused on my purpose. Okay, so we'll move on to, we're going to answer all these questions and we'll just kind of walk through the program as a whole. Okay. I love this question. How to tell old guys ladder drills are good for them and don't make them look like dancing idiots. Love that question. So I'm going to stop the share here for a sec. So yeah, I think that goes back to what we're already talking about, right? Helping people understand that even ladder drills are for everybody. And what are the benefits of ladder drills? If you're an older client, ladder drills are huge, right? I think a lot of clients don't recognize that you lose those fast twitch fibers as you age at, 3 times the rate you lose your strength. I don't think a lot of them understand that there was 28,000 falls last year that were fatal to elderly people, and that doing ladder drills, that's like you maintaining your ability to react and prevent injury, right? But if it's just, hey, I want you to do this athletic thing that athletes do, they're going to feel silly, right? And nobody wants to feel silly or stupid in the gym. So we really have to, if we're taking somebody through a ladder drill and they're not super comfortable with it, we have to help them understand, why this ladder drill is going to be a big part of helping them improve. And by the way, the ladder drill is like less than 2 minutes of the whole workout. It's just a quick thing that we want to make sure is a part of helping our clients out. And then Jesse had a question I want to just answer really quick. So for the 30-minute session, do we focus on less of everything or drop off certain areas for time's sake? And that's actually a really good question. There's a 30-minute version of our whole program for everybody. So we'll make sure we send that out so you guys understand that. Because, that was one of the things that we spent some time on in programming, is making sure that we were showing, okay, here's what the hour would look like. Here's a shortened version. Here's what the 30-minute one would look like. So we'll make sure we get that sent out. Thanks for asking that question. Okay, the next question somebody asked was, do clients ever get to do a full get up or kettlebell swing? Okay. I know on a lot of the programs it says quarter get up or half get up, right? Or it has kettlebell deadlift and not kettlebell swing. In answer to your question, for whoever asked that, I would say, remember, those are starting points, right? A lot of clients, if you just put full get up, they're going to want to do the full get up today. And it takes a long time to master a movement that requires a decent amount of skill. And so if it says quarter get up, that's where you're starting. But like yesterday or on Monday in my group when I started this, it said quarter get up. And I had most people doing the quarter get up. And then 2 of them really want to do the full get up because we've worked on that and we've mastered it. So they were doing the full get up, right? So I would say as you've mastered it and it says quarter, that's just the starting point, okay? That being said, I also had people in my group who can do a full get up, but I said, well, why don't we spend a couple weeks going back to the quarter? You can do it loaded, and we can really work on owning that first part of the movement, and they like that idea a lot. So it's just how you present it to them and then how you connect it to what they want to improve, right? So if it's quarter get up, go for quarter get up, okay? But make sure they have an understanding of how that's going to benefit them, okay? And on kettlebell, same thing, right? If you can do kettlebell swings as soon as you own the movement. You show you can own a kettlebell or a kettlebell deadlift. You show you can own a hex bar deadlift, and you can do that with integrity. Then progress that up. If they have goals where they want to really learn how to do the swing and learn that skill, start teaching it to them, right? I think on the sheet it has kettlebell deadlift once or twice this next 6-week period. Let's dig into those. Any thoughts on that, Thane? On get ups, swings, when we do them, do we stay, do we not?
No, I just think about how you present it.
Yep.
I mean, my groups, it's the same thing. It's because I'm confident enough in what I'm doing. No one's gonna ever really question you if you present it and you actually or know what you're doing. This is what we're doing. This is how we're gonna do it. These are the 3 things. And it's kind of amazing. They just do it. No one's going to complain. But if I'm wishy-washy about it, then that's exactly how they're going to respond. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's still a good movement, even if you did a quarter get up. Yeah. Like Lane said, I could load that pattern. If I want them to make it a little bit harder, I could tell them to go up to that loaded, on the 4th get up. When they're on the upside, hang out there for 10 seconds and then go back down, see how everything moves. So I think no matter what, you can always make something hard in that one little movement. So I want to get too worried about a full get up compared to a quarter get up.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think the big point that Thane's hitting on right here is that, he's focusing on, one, he's confident as a coach, right? He's confident in what he's giving them and that it's going to be the best thing for them. But then 2, he's going around and tweaking and dialing that into each person, right? Sometimes we say the phrase, just be a coach. But you have to understand, there's a lot that goes into that phrase of just be a coach. And this is, Ryan just brought something up I want to mention as well. I think this is a really good point. He said, I think we get bored with exercises a lot faster than our clients do. They want to master a move and see progress before moving on to something different or harder. And yeah, quick story on that, guys. One of I had a trainer in my group 2 weeks ago. Okay. And in that group, she was talking about this, like, it's always the same thing. It's always the same thing. And my client, because this is during a group, and my client was listening to her. And I said that same thing. I said, look, we teach this 100,000 times. The clients don't. And my client looked at me and was like, dead on. He's like, I don't feel like I'm bored with this. I feel like I'm always being challenged. So just remember, we have a different perspective of the workouts than our clients do. And thanks for bringing that up, Ryan. I think that's really important. Thane, do you want to answer this question? How do you run the play with groups that sometimes have the same people? So for example, you have 3 days and you guys have been running 3 days the longest. Do you just do day one for a week and then change ? So I think essentially that question is asking, how do you handle the 3-day split now with your groups and the frequency that they come in?
Yeah, perfect. So usually I make sure you write the date down for each person or each client that's been in the group. So if it's got to be a makeup group and they have to come in another week, then I could look at exactly, I got all 8 sheets of paper and go, well, only 2 people in the group have done day 3. So I'm going to do day 3. And if I really want to be crazy, I'm just going to start from the bottom and then go to the top. And people think it's a different workout, even though it's the same. You don't always have to start from the top and go down. And so it's very, pretty easy if you just look at it that way, rather than being, oh my gosh, I have to do day 1, day 2, and day 3. And this person's already done day 2. Well, the majority of the group needs to do day 3, so we're going to do day 3.
Yeah.
And my baselines can change, right? I could do something different on a hold or whatever day 3 calls. Or like I said, start from the bottom. If you start from round 3 and go up, they think it's brand new.
I like that. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is, like Thane said, make sure you're keeping track of it and you're staying consistent with it. And then, like for me, what I've been doing is just simply rotating so that, every Monday I'm in a completely different spot, so that I'm not doing day 1 every single Monday. One Monday would be day 1, the next Monday it's going to be day 2, the next Monday it's going to be day 3, for the most part, unless I need to switch based off of some of the things Thane's talking about. So the last question, thanks for your answer on that, Thane. The last question was just simply, what does MASS stand for? So I think that's just perfect segue into us just breaking down this whole sheet, okay? So one of the things I want to just I know, one of the other questions was just simply, I know there's a lot on the page, or because there's a lot on the page, the workout can come off as complicated. One of the things I want to say to us trainers is just simply, it's the same recipe we've always taught, right? Foam roll, stretch, activate, dynamic warm-up, power, strength, conditioning. That's the same thing we've always done. It's just now more visible, right? Forever we just had day 1, day 2. You didn't even see any of the other drills. And one of the things that we found was clients didn't even know on their own to ever do any of our foam rolling, stretching, any of their correctives, because we never put it on their program. So yes, we are looking at, okay, how can we make this a little more digestible, a little simpler? We appreciate that feedback. That's something we're going to look at, ways to make it so it's not tiny font. We understand that. We hear you. We've heard those comments and that feedback. It's something we're looking at for sure. So rest assured, we are looking at that. Keep using what you've got for the time being. Okay. So let's just walk through this, and let's walk through some timing. Okay. We got about 9 minutes left on their call. Let's walk through the timing of how this would play out. Okay. So if you're looking at the big chunks from foam roll to the end of power, okay, foam roll, stretch, mass drills, dynamic warm-up, SAQ drills, and power, you should be able to get through all of that in 20 minutes, okay? Then if you're looking at your strength, okay, that's usually going to be about 30 to 35 minutes, and then your conditioning 5 to 10 minutes. And that's going to equal an hour, okay? And if you're breaking this down, right, foam rolling, 3 minutes, stretching, 3 minutes, mass drills, 2 to 3 minutes, okay, we're at 9 minutes. Dynamic warm-up, this is usually going to take 5 to 6 minutes, okay? Now we're at 15 minutes. Between SAQs and power, 5 minutes. Now you're at 20 minutes, okay? So I think the biggest thing as a coach is that you've got to have that plan ahead of time so that you know, okay, where am I taking my group next? Okay, I've got my foam roll, okay, got to transition right into stretching. Okay, got that done, got to transition right into, the 2 to 3 drills that I choose. And now let's answer that question. Mass drill stands for mobility, activation, and stability. Okay, pretty much our correctives. Mobility, activation, and stability. All in one place so that you have a reference, and so does your client. And the other thing I would say really quickly in regards to, it's a lot on one page, it seems complicated, is that anytime you introduce something new, there's going to be a time where it's going to feel like that. The way you communicate to your clients will also help whether they feel that way or not, right? Like I told my clients on Monday and Wednesday, hey, we've got a new program. Notice it's 3 days now. There's a lot of stuff at the top. We're going to go through that and you're going to get comfortable with it over time. So whether we continue to use this exact sheet or something else, in time they'll get used to it. Okay, so that's about 9 minutes and we're right here. Now we're looking at our day one. Okay, here's my dynamic warm-up. Probably going to take me about anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes to get through these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. And then what I did on the turf is, what I would do is basically throw out your speed ladder, and now you can do your power stuff against the functional wall and just kind of make that circuit. You can blend those in together or you can do them separate. Okay, it just depends on what you want to emphasize that day. Right, and there may be days that you don't do the SAQ with other stuff you want to emphasize, or there may be days you spend more time in the power. Again, that's where you're going to be a coach. Okay, and you're going to decide, okay, this is what my guys need today. Any questions or thoughts on our top stuff on the top kind of third of the page here with foam rolling, stretching, mass drills, dynamic warm-up, SAQ, power? To me, it's all about the transitions. You got to know where you're going next. And you got to be able to move and transition quickly so you don't overwhelm yourself in your sessions. Okay. No thoughts on that? Okay, guys, moving on to the strength, right? Just like we're talking as far as you got to transition, know where you're going to be doing these rounds, right? A lot of you have cages. Ideally, this is all done in the cage. If you don't, know where you're going to have that set up. Know where that pod's going to be so that round 1, you know where you're at. Round 2, you know where you're at. Round 3, you know where it's going to take place, or else you're going to feel probably a little stress trying to transition from one thing to the next. Okay. Timing on these, like I said, typically this is going to take about 30 minutes, right? Just so that, I was talking to one of the head trainers the other day about, they could only handle a couple groups at a time. They were trying to handle too many groups on a small turf. And so in order to transition like a conveyor belt, one group to the next, like if I'm at university, for example, I'm going to be leaving the cage at 6:50 on Wednesdays as the next trainer, as James walks in at 6:50 with his group. And so we transition that way really well. So, make sure you're understanding what is happening though at your location with your training staff, with your head trainer, so that you know what the best flow is. Because this workout can flow really well and it gives the client a lot of variety and they get to go through the whole recipe in one. But as long as you know where those things are happening and you're comfortable with the transitions that need to happen in order to do them. Thane, any other thoughts on that, on the flow of it, the transitions of it? I know that's something you guys do really well in Colorado. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think it's important to realize if you look at just the programming of it, if you look at the very, day one, goblet squat, day two, deadlift, day three, split squat, those are all the most coaching intensive. So what you want to think is, if I have a group of 8 and I've already watched 2 or 3 people that are really not good at squatting, I'm going to send my good people to go and bear crawl and send them off, and the other people to do some chops. And I could focus my time on those people that need that individual attention. So I'm setting myself up for success. And so this flow is very easy. In Colorado, we could do about 3 to 4 groups of 8 all in the same time in the cage, moving through. And it just depends on, like Lane was talking about, how you get things set up and how do I buy time to be the best coach. And that's what we did with the programming. So the hardest things, again, are to always do a goblet squat. So I'm going to start myself off by watching people that aren't the best squatters during the warm-ups get into the cage. I'm going to work with them most intensely, and then the other guys are going to go out to the side and do the other movement patterns. And then I just go back down through. And it's really about how you present it and how the flow goes. If you're just going to say everybody does goblet squat, you're going to get in a big trouble on that end.
Yeah. No, I think guys, that's a really big point that Thane brings up there. It's really important that you're buying, I love that idea of buy yourself time as a coach, right? You know your group, you know your people, have them go bear crawl. You look at the sheet ahead of time, you know what's coming, you know where they're going to do it. Okay, I know I'm going to have these 3 people in my group that are typically my, people that struggle with this, and I'm going to need to spend more time coaching them. Okay, you 3 go start there. You start with these guys that need the help, and that's going to give them the best experience possible. Okay. So yeah, I love that. I think that's really important. And I just kind of wrapping this all up, it really is all about our attitude, how we present to our clients, understanding that the client experience is the most important thing, right? We can have the best programming in the world. We can have the best science in the world. But if it doesn't lead to the client having the best experience that we are delivering to them, then it's all for naught, honestly, right? We can come up with the best programs, but how we're presenting that to the clients, how we're making them feel, that we're making it feel personalized to them, we're explaining the whys. Our clients will love this. They will have a great experience, and they will come back again and again and again for it. Okay. Want to keep this as close to the time as possible. It's 7:30, but I just want to open up. Is there any other questions, comments, things anybody else wants to add? Thane, anything you want to add?
Don't hold the clipboard or don't hold paper. Don't hold the program and walk around. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, have a reference.
Memorize it and know it. Don't walk around.
On that point, something I know Thane does, and then something Jesse just started. Thane has little whiteboards that he has all the workouts written on so that they have a quick reference guide. I love that idea. Jesse laminated each day and put it in big font so that's sitting around the cage, so that we're not just sitting here, holding our clipboard as a trainer, walking around. We're dialed in. We're going to intervene. We're going to move people. We're going to coach. And it gets really closed off. When I'm holding a clipboard like Thane's talking about, and I've got my arms crossed, that's a very negative body language. That's not an inviting body language. So getting rid of that so that we can just get out there and coach is huge. Love that. Good comment. All right, guys, any other things? And Jesse, clients should be writing and updating their own folders. Yes, thank you for saying that. So, one thing that I do, I coach the round, And then I say, all right, guys, everybody run, grab a drink, mark your sheet, rack your weights every single time. We're always re-racking, grabbing water if we want, and then marking our own sheets. And then that way they're taking ownership of writing down what they did. Okay. And then they're responsible for that. So yeah, glad you mentioned that as well.
And if you have them clean up the cage for you, they respect you more.
100%.
Like Lane was talking about.
Yeah. You should never leave the cage it being a mess, right? You got a group of 6 people in front of you. You guys can put your stuff away in 20 seconds, right? But if they leave it out and you have to do it, your job just got 10 times harder, right? Teach people that gym etiquette. That's just a good rule to live by, period, if you're working in a gym. All right, guys. Well, thanks for spending some time on the call with us today. If you do have other questions, right, this definitely is more just a question and answer session on our program. It's not the end all be all. So if you have other questions, please talk to your head trainer. Reach out to us. We're happy to help you understand things better so you can coach and deliver a better experience to your clients. Remember, it is all about the client. It's all about their goals. It's all about their purpose. Let's connect to them. Let's give them some wow experiences this week. And thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys soon.